Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on.
Hello and welcome to the Bring Me to Life podcast. This is episode 238. We're continuing with the symbolism of sea creatures. My name is Sealion and I'm joined by Shannon Shine.
Hello. Thanks for waking up and shining on with us. Super excited to dive into some more creatures. I know we had a good time talking about some of the other water creatures in the last episode, and this is going to be some good stuff.
Yeah, so should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, if anyone's interested to know why we're doing the animal series, we did a whole podcast kind of talking about the importance of animal magic. And I know that there's several creatures on this list that have just always fascinated me throughout my journey. And one of them is the angelfish. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a beautiful creature to kind of start with. The angelfish, unlike many of the other fish in the sea creature world or the angelfish family, it's a little different. It's not as aggressive as a lot of other seawater or saltwater fish, and they're obviously pretty connected to the angelic realms because they got their name that way. So they tend to serve as like a gentle reminder that we're never alone or without protection. And I've always kind of seen the angelfish as a very protective and guardian-esque fish, even though they're not really considered an aggressive style of fish. They serve as a general reminder that we're never alone, that we have protection, that there's unconditional love and forgiveness. And the angelfish guardian spirit can also be assigned to, keep your eyes open. They're said to have excellent vision and could be telling you to get more focused. Some spiritual beings also say that angelfish guide us to our psychic reefs, as they say. So you can receive angelic guidance by meditating on them and bringing them more into your awareness. And as you do, they'll bring you more into the awareness of what's happening around you in different ways. And those that resonate with the angelfish are also typically said to be imaginative and intuitive and have big hearts and giving nature. And if you want to seek your inner angelfish power animal when you're feeling down or distracted or helpless, the angelfish is here to give you hope. And in the world of some spiritualists, they say that you can call upon the angelfish when you need, again, angelic support. So I kind of found that interesting that I was always kind of drawn to angelfish. I guess it's because the name angel is in it. Mm-hmm. And then some of the other animals, just real quick for those that are just tuning in and want to know who we're talking about. We're going to talk about some creatures like the seahorse, the crab, the Manta Ray, the Sealion, the starfish, shark, manatee, and Narwhal. And I think that you have a few of them included in that list that you were really called to, like the seahorse.
Absolutely.
You're pretty fond of seahorses, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love seahorses. I love land horses. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that translates into the water horse. It's also a very kind of mythical, magical creature. So the seahorse is, I would say, very sensational. And what's interesting is that they reverse the gender role of giving birth because the male will carry around the female eggs and birth them after about a few weeks to a month. So that I thought was very interesting. It's not often that males give birth.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess it's technically still the female laying the eggs, but the male will carry them around until they hatch. So they're, in some ways, I guess, giving the birth as well.
Well, they carry the eggs around and then they literally give birth to the babies when they're ready to be hatched.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes it could be a few hundred to 1,000.
That's a lot of seahorses.
I know, that's a lot of babies. But they're also masters of disguise and are said to change color in different kind of social situations. I thought you would find this interesting, being somebody who loves color. Sometimes, like if they were observed meeting somebody else in the morning, and so like their color would change based on if they met one of their own like school or like another male.
So they
horse.
have the ability to camouflage themselves?
They can camouflage themselves, and sometimes they change color like a mood ring.
That's interesting.
It is very. They are considered fish because they have gills and fins, and they're part of a majestic group of creatures that people often wonder if they're even real. There's going to be a few of them like that we talk about are these creatures even real? And yes, the seahorse is real. In some Greco-Roman times, the seahorse was said to guide sailors who had drowned to the afterlife.
Powerful.
Very powerful. They're also symbols of romance, as they are said to mate for life. I don't know what that is, but one of their superpowers is sight, because they can look in opposite directions at the same time.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So they
see
can
all the things all the way.
When they go across the street, they can look both ways at the same time.
Not that there's streets in the ocean or anything,
Right.
but
But Finding Nemo, there are.
Anyway.
They have, so because of their eyes, they have an heightened awareness. They have an ability to observe their surroundings. So being able to also see in the past and look into the future, because they can look both ways, they're helpful for letting go of any old emotions or feelings that you may need to move on from, so that you can use that energy to guide you toward your goals, guide you towards the life that you dream about. Seahorses are also connected with creativity, imagination, and moving gracefully through storms. So when you watch them, they're very graceful in the water. When storms happen, they're just like moving around in the flow of the water.
I love that. Another one of our creatures that is on our list that is all about grace is the Manta Ray. And this creature has just always fascinated me. I thought the Manta Ray was just a beautiful creature. And the way that it moves and soars through the water is just so majestic. Some of them can be as large as 22 feet wide.
Jeez.
That's a big old creature.
That is like, yeah, that's a lot
It's
of
a
people.
big creature.
Yeah.
This animal is an expert navigator, and they embody the ability to work through the depths of our feelings and to help us soar to success. So when a manta ray comes into your life or in your dreams, it's usually a message to really like recalibrate yourself and to learn to go more with the flow, while also amplifying and reining in your personal power and learning how to embrace said power and direct it with a true purpose. So the manta ray is also said to help attract abundance and prosperity.
Nice.
So I thought that was pretty cool, especially since we've been working on an upgraded version of True Abundance.
Yeah, for sure.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned for new True Abundance.
Mm-hmm.
The manta ray is also a spirit animal that can have an aggressive side, because if someone disturbs the inner peace and the sense of self, the manta ray will show itself as a protector. It is different than a stingray. A manta ray and a stingray are slightly different. And but if a manta ray is your birth totem, you're likely confident and able to adapt to different environments. And wherever you go, people probably flock to you and are flattered with your presentation. Sometimes people may be a little too attracted to you. You may find yourself constantly surrounded by new people. Romantic gestures will become a common act for you, and you may find yourself again surrounded by new options and new people constantly interested in your energy. So one of the best aspects of a manta ray totem animal is that those that resonate with the manta ray are often said to have guidance that is excellent to others. So people will trust your insights, and somehow you just have the ability to see through the veils right into the heart of the matter. And it will, you also typically have the ability to see through any sort of shadows and to see what will make a person truly happy or whole, which is said to be a glorious gift. And I thought this was an interesting statement about manta rays, because it reminds me of Moana and how the grandma had a big manta ray, and she was like the truth seer and the wisdom.
I was going to say something about that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was like, oh, I love manta rays.
Such a beautiful scene in the movie too.
Yeah, and those that connect with the manta ray say that it's important to honor yourself and to be your own counselor and teacher, and to help yourself stay on your own path while helping others as well. And to remember that you have a keen sense of if something is wrong. So it's important to follow your intuition. It'll help you avoid ugly situations and help others avoid ugly situations as well. And when engaging in a new environment, particularly one where maybe you feel out of your comfort zone, the Manta Ray power animal is there to give you confidence and encouragement, and to remind you that no matter how big or deep or wide your situation feels, that the Manta Ray is there to help you adapt and to grow into this big new space. So don't let fear of poor self-image get to you or anything like that, and just call upon the Manta Ray. I think I'm going to be calling upon the Manta Ray a lot as I shift into some new areas and opportunities of my life. And I just really think they're beautiful creatures.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely just another graceful creature.
Another one that was one of my favorites from Finding Nemo. The teacher was a Manta Ray, and he took all the little kids places.
That's funny.
I love how many amazing animal loves of mine came from Finding Nemo. It's kind of hilarious, actually.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we're ready to switch over. We're gonna go from the Manta Ray to the manatee.
Ooh, manatee. Tell me about the manatee.
So the manatee is such a funny creature. It just gave me so many good vibes looking into the manatee. It's also known as the sea cow because they're very large, they're very slow, and they're also very peaceful herbivores with a very large nose that kind of looks like a cow's nose. They eat a lot. They eat a lot of seagrass and algae. So just like a cow just eating grass all day, that's basically what they do. They're mammals. They have to come up for air every maybe 5 to 10 minutes for air. And that's even though they never leave the water. So these things never leave the water, but yet they have to come up for air every 5 to 10 minutes. So they're able to live in fresh water. They're also able to live in salt water, symbolizing their ability to adapt to their environment and not allowing any of their surroundings to affect them. So they're able to stay calm and relaxed. Manatees are known for their playful behavior. I looked in and watched some videos, and they were cuddling with some of the humans and the divers and just like being so silly and so funny. And they're able to find ways to have fun. They like to enjoy life. They also allow others to be themselves. They're very compassionate. They're very curious, and they're very trusting creatures. So if you are getting a lot of messages from the manatee, it's popping up for you a lot, it could be a time for you to slow down, for you to enjoy life for a moment.
Beautiful. Well, that makes me want to talk about the sea lion, because they kind of have a similar vibration. The difference is that a sea lion, other than being a different creature, is that they spend a little bit more time earthside. But sea lions are interesting creatures because they're actually pretty different than seals or the walrus, which are also kind of all in that realm. They're kind of like cousins in a way, but they have a similar energetic symbolism. So the sea lions have the ability to sleep 12 hours at a time.
Dang.
And they spend a lot of time sleeping during the day. And I believe, if I read this right, they can do so while being submerged underwater. They do have to come up to breathe like the other mammals, but they spend a lot of time underwater. And they also love to cuddle and remind us of the necessity of, skin on skin contact for our just general well-being. The sea lion energy is also connected to the sacral chakra and the energy of creativity. They're also connected to the energy of lucid dreaming and the intense intuitive awareness. So I know that's something you're interested in.
For sure.
So they are intuitive and life-giving. They're said to help us attract greater connections to our truest selves and our soul's journey. The sea lion medicine is also about respecting and appreciating the planet. Their energy is here to encourage you to explore your sensual and confident inner self, and to be intuitive and imaginative while you allow yourself to explore your own body. So the sea lion spirit animal also comes to people who feel like they may be drowning in waves of problems or negativity, if they're dealing with anxiety. And in these moments, the sea lion is here to show you the way to swim on through and gather information from the different currents of life and help you emerge with a new balance. In northwestern coastal native tribes, They have different stories that talk about sea lions helping create the land by bringing mud from the bottom of the ocean. And then symbolically, the sea lion animal helpers also, again, have associations with abundance and wealth and good fortune and hunting and fishing. And they're just really honored in different tribes that are close to the waters.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. That was the sea lion.
Sea lion.
Are they the ones with like a tusk?
I think that they are. I think those are walruses.
Okay.
From my understanding, now I'm like confused because they're all kind of cousins. But
Mm.
you know who does have a tusk is the narwhal. You want to tell us about the narwhal?
Sure. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm glad that you knew the narwhal had a tusk.
Because it's like the unicorn of the sea.
Yeah, well, most people think it's a horn, but this is a very fascinating creature. If you haven't seen what a narwhal looks like, you should go check that out right now. They sort of look like a unicorn whale creature it does very much look like a horn coming out of its head, but I actually learned it's their tooth, it's their tusk.
Oh.
And it's coming out of their mouth.
Nice. So I was on point with that.
You were on point with that. So it just grows to 12 to 16 feet. It looks like a giant horn, but it's actually a tooth. And apparently it's the only tusk that grows straight and is twisted. So you notice like it does look like a horn because it twists like a lot of horns do. A lot like, a unicorn horn.
Yeah, it's one of those creatures that people don't really believe is real. I saw it was like, I guess, a taxidermied narwhal when I was traveling recently, and it was huge and very majestic.
Well, they're very majestic creatures. They're usually peaceful. They don't normally use their tusk to fight. Apparently, it's more like an antenna almost. And connecting with the narwhal, it's like you are connecting and being more focused, coming to a point of focus. You're honing in on your true instincts. The twist of the tusk winds upwards, helping you to connect with a higher perception, helping you to connect with the heavenly realms. They have a clairsentience because their horn almost acts like an antenna where they can like sense their environment, so it gives them some clairsentience. So they help with that. This divine creature, if it's coming to you clearly, it is showing you that you are ready to connect with divine higher frequencies. So congratulations to all those narwhal peoples.
Yeah, it's one of those fascinating creatures. I do have to thank Elf for me even knowing it exists.
Yeah. There is one in Elf, yeah.
Yeah, so
For sure.
Cool. So the narwhal, what an interesting creature.
So interesting. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
Let's see. I think we're getting closer to the end. We have like 3 more. So one I did some research on is, funnily enough, the crab, which is typically related to the zodiac of Cancer, which is not always a zodiac that mixes well with my Leo energy. But let's talk about the crab for a moment. So if you're someone who's finding it hard to be in flow, hard to connect with your emotions, or having trouble getting going in a new direction, then you may be calling in the crab totem. However, the crab can also teach us, to be more in directions with ourselves. It can teach you to be in flow, as well as if you feel like you're out of flow. It can teach us how to hold on tight and to sidestep obstacles as needed. And the crab's claws are said to be so very, very strong. So this creature, it's about grabbing onto something. And if you're somebody who grabs onto something, then you'll probably be hard pressed to let your claws open. They're very good at attaching themselves to things. So the crab is also a good symbol of resiliency and the unwillingness to give up, especially the things that we feel we've earned rightfully. Somebody who resonates with the crab energy is not going to easily step down if they feel like they've earned something rightfully. The crab does shed its shell as it grows, and it provides the additional connection to renewal and rebirth, because they get that rebirth every time they upgrade their shell. And there is some caution here that crabs can become very defenseless during that process of change. So until that new environment manifests, sometimes they have to proceed with caution to keep themselves protected. So those that resonate with the crab energy may be very cautious when making choices and decisions. Crab medicine can also show up if we're dealing with a lot of things at once or balancing a lot of different stress. It is a reminder that it's okay to maybe be a little bit crabby sometimes, because it's important to process through emotions and to not just always be happy, because those lower moments make us appreciate the higher moments more. But to also not get attached to bitterness. Native American traditions use the crab as a symbol of rebirth because they thought that humans may have reincarnated as crabs and other sea creatures. And they're also tied to the moon and emotions and intuition, or the waves of life. Apparently, they're more often seen during certain moon phases. And shamans would also work with crab magic to help one examine their feelings. So if someone is working with a shaman and they see a crab in your energy, then they're going to tell you to work with your feelings more and to see what's hiding under your shell. They're going to help you come out of your shell. So
nice. I actually have an experience with a crab once where I was in Hawaii and I was sleeping on the beach by myself, and I kind of like lit a fire and sat by the fire, just hung out, and I just kind of noticed this crab run up from the direction of the water. Slowly comes up and it just skittles, will stop, and then starts again, and then came up to the fire and just scurried up. I was like about to get up and walk away, and then it just plopped down. And then it just like plopped down on the other side of the fire from me. So we were just sharing a fire, sharing the warmth, and that was it. And then I fell asleep.
do you feel like it showed up at a time you needed to examine your inner emotions?
Yes, because I was going through a lot right at that time. And
Sounds like it.
yeah, so I'm going to do the starfish, and I'll let you get to the final one, because that's a pretty good one. I think you will like it. But we're going to talk about the starfish here. And starfish are star-shaped sea animals. They have no brain, and they rely completely on their senses. They have a complex nervous system that helps them to survive in their environment, helps them to move around. The starfish are also sometimes referred to as asteroids because they come under the class Asteroidea.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they're like another kind of like heavenly, spacey animal here on Earth.
I've always really liked starfish.
Yeah. So they symbolize kind of like as above, so below, reflecting the divine energy from the stars back down onto Earth. Each of their 5 arms has, some of them have 4, but some, like most of them have 5. And each one has hundreds of little feet. And that's how they move. And that's kind of like cute when you see, if you look at like up close view of it. So neat. Their limbs can actually regrow. So connecting with a starfish could mean that maybe you're on the path of healing, or maybe you're reconnecting with a lost part of yourself. Starfish are able to, another one that is kind of like against the grain, they're able to change their sex at any time. So they can create cells from both male and female, or they could become asexual.
So how do they reproduce then?
I think they have both sperm and eggs in their bodies.
So since they can regrow their limbs, what if one's like split in half?
And they just become like 2 more. I don't know.
I have so many questions. Anyway, go on.
You have to ask the scientist that one.
So many questions.
If there's somebody who knows that answer, please let us know.
Yeah, if any of this is resonating with you, if you have another animal, if you're curious to know more, or you want to hop in the conversation, jump in at Bring Me to Life Community on Facebook and let us know what you know about any of these creatures or other sea creatures that maybe we didn't mention. Anyway, what else you got about the starfish?
Well, in my mind, in my perspective, if you see a starfish or if it's starting to come up for you, it's a sign that you are on the path and you're going to be able to regenerate. You're going to reawaken. You're going to renew and revitalize yourself, no matter what you might be going through.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What a cool creature.
Yeah.
All right. I think the last one that we had that we were going to discuss today, even though I've recently just thought of so many other sea creatures we should have included, like the squid and like, I don't know, so
There's
many.
more.
There's so many sea creatures.
There'll always be more.
Yeah, we wanted to just, cover some of the ones that came up when we were doing some research, and some of the ones that others had recommended or said that they were resonating with. So I do think we're going to switch to a different animal kingdom on our next episode. But the last animal I have for the sea creatures today is the shark. And you actually did some research on this one, so I'm excited to learn more. But it says that the shark is one of the most popular sea-faring creatures. Unlike whales, they have gills, which allow them to get all of their oxygen from the water. They have an entire week dedicated to them. They do indeed.
Shark Week.
Some of the kinds of shows that may portray a violent example, but there are many different kinds of sharks. They're not all violent. And if you've been drawn to the shark recently, it may be because you're looking for more confidence, more strength, especially inner strength, or maybe the ability to really go out on your own and claim your true power by being brave. And it looks like one of my...
There's a quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, by one of your favorite people.
Yeah, it's what I'm seeing here. You found a quote by Marianne Williamson, and it Marianne Williamson has a quote about finding your inner light, and it looks like she said a version about sharks, because it says, sharks, they do what they want, when it wants, and how it wants. But a shark has a primal knowing that we were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us, and it's not just in some of us, but in every one of us.
Mm-hmm. It's like almost like a small version of her big quote.
I love that quote. We fear not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. That's a beautiful quote. Yeah. Go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. So that's what we have for the rest of the sea creatures here on Bring Me to Life podcast. And we have more. We're going to move on, like Shannon said, to a new animal kingdom in our next episode. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Remember to, again, go join us at the Bring Me to Life community on Facebook. You can hop into the discussion there. Let us know what animals you'd like us to talk about next. You can find out other episodes of the Bring Me to Life podcast on various platforms. We got so many new articles and new things happening. Some of our other podcast hosts have put out new episodes. And here's just another quick reminder that if you're looking for CBD, you can go check out New Leaf Naturals and use the code BringMeToLife and get a discount on your next CBD order and help us out by spreading the word.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Stay awake
and shine on always. For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning, and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.